mentally retarded are divided into classifications: the educable, the trainable, and the custodial. Obviously, we can only assess the abilities or potential of the mentally retarded on an individual basis. Seemingly random motions and movements are fairly common among the custodial retarded, and they may take many forms. Sometimes there are motions which seem to have no meaning whatever and may even cause unintentional self-inflicted injuries. The vast majority of the mentally retarded are intelligent enough that they can be taught a great many things. However, there's a wide range of ability even among those considered educable, and their ability to learn obviously varies according to their level of intelligence. Equally important is a stimulating environment. However, we must remember to set realistic standards that are not too high for the individual. Many of the trainable retarded can learn to take certain kinds of household responsibilities, some of which may be more complex than they are usually given credit for. It would be wrong to expect a mentally retarded person to become a master craftsman. The standards are too high. But even in the skilled trades, for example, the mentally retarded can be trained to become valuable assistants. Who are the mentally retarded? They are people. They come in both sexes and in all sizes, shapes, creeds, and colors. Wherever people live, there also live the mentally retarded.
I hope you guys enjoyed this PSA. It was very important. I don't, we got to understand what we're dealing with out there, so we can also, be helpful when the people need it. It's a sad state of affairs out there on the left, and But anyways, this has been the your wild world of. What's that old show that Disney used to put on or ABC in the old days, like the not Wild World of Sports? But anyways, that's your PSA. How's it going, folks? Welcome to American Fire with Ace. We are going through it tonight. It's Shutdown Day. Happy Shutdown Day. I wish I had a sombrero. Just like my buddy Hakeem Jeffries. He's looking very sharp these days, even though he's not too big a fan of it. But tonight, how much? 1 hour from this moment right now, the government will be shutting down 750,000 furloughed federal workers, and a great deal of them may never come back. So we can hope, cross our fingers, that Russ Vought steps up and delivers as he said he would. So, happy Shutdown Day. Cheers. Here's my sparkling water. It tastes better when I know the government is probably going to be shrinking. So glad they went through with it. Glad Trump and the Republicans held their ground, and glad the Democrats were too stupid to see that this is going to end very poorly for them. They're going to be the only losers. So anyway, Wild Kingdom. Thank you, Alan. That's what it was. Wild Kingdom. That was a great show. Speaking of Alan in the chat, what's going on, chat? Let's say hey to some peeps. Wago Waco numero uno tonight. What's up, buddy? Donna M. How are you? Alice Fordham. Troy Manto Cramp. Gomez. Let's go. Kathy Ramiro Garcia. BN Pro. What's up? Kasink. Scott Volkovich. Bringing the money. Big B. Just Mike, Pat M. Hola, Azores. Shogun, what's going on? Going to Korea. Show them that PSA. They might need to understand what they're dealing with when dealing with half of America. Johnny Strayhorn, what's going on? Ramiro Garcia, AZ Tropic over there on Rumble. How's it going, buddy? Country Computers. It's cold in DC because the government's freaking out. I love that. D6, what's up? See a human. Good to see you as well. Glad you can make it, friend. As always, it's love seeing you guys, and it's fun to be here. Let's have some fun tonight. Sonoran Sky 33rd, he's still jumping in while I'm doing the call outs. Anybody else want to get a shout out? Now's your chance. Also, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Muchos gracias to you if you do that. Love it. Oh my good. CA Humans, what? 20 American Fire memberships. That's epic. Are you for real? Thank you so much. What a generous gift. Many of you will now have access to tomorrow's Members Live. That is awesome. Thank you so much, CA Human. Very generous of you. And guys, if you want to also get into the Discord chat, you can get a free membership in the Discord at a Patreon in the description here on Rumble and YouTube. And if you're on X, you can get that free month-long membership for Members Lives and for Discord access in on the posted post on my page. So anyways, look at all these people. 20 people getting memberships. That's awesome. That's awesome. 5-star, man, so many. Toe cramp. Oh man, I got the energy tonight. It's shutdown day. Let me show you why I got some energy. I'm happy. I'm happy because this man is not happy. It's Akeem Jeffries is not so happy about the joke Trump made about him and Schumer the other night. So let's hear what he has to say about it.
I'm not even Mexican. I don't know why President Trump keeps saying that shit. He needs to say it to my face, Holmes. And while we're at it, I'm getting really tired of all that dollar store Obama shit. It's getting old, homie. My name is not dollar store Obama. Okay, pendejo? Órale! Arriba! Arriba! I'm not even Mexican.
Oh, man. I could watch that all day. In fact, okay. You guys don't have to pull my arm. One more time.
I'm not even Mexican. I don't know why President Trump keeps saying that shit. He needs to say it to my face, Holmes. And while we're at it, I'm getting really tired of all that dollar store Obama shit. It's getting old, homie. My name is not dollar store Obama. Okay, pendejo? Órale! Arriba! Arriba!
It's Timu Obama. It's Timu Obama. Okay? Get it right. Get right, Trump. What's wrong with you? Oh, man. Too good. Sounds like your cousin. I love it. LMI, what's going on? I'm the new mainstream media. Wow. Well, tell that to tell that to YouTube because they don't like to they don't like to promote my videos at all. Oh well, at least they're not demonetizing me anymore. Well, they haven't in a while. We'll see if they pick it back up again. But anyways, just great stuff. Shut it down. That's right, Steven. Shut it down. So tonight, the shutdown is coming, and here's what it could look like. So, U.S. government shutdown for the first time since 2018, last time Trump was in office. U.S. about to enter a government shutdown. Investors are bracing for it. This would furlough 750,000 workers per day, costing $400 million in daily compensation. What does it mean? Well, last time we entered a government shutdown was December 2018 in Trump's first term. Shutdown lasted 35 days, making it the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Average length of a shutdown is 8 days. Implications spread further when it lasts longer. Listen, we can all hope that it lasts much longer. I'd be fine with a new record, like let's go more than 35 days. I get it. There'll be some people who don't get their paycheck on time, and that sucks. If you're a good worker in the government, you will get your back pay, and so you can figure it out for a month or so. But I get it. It can be tough. I totally get it. As far as I'm hearing, several government workers are cheering about this because it's like paid vacation for them. So, because they will get their back pay. The military, some others will have to keep working without pay, which that sucks. I feel for the military guys. But in general, this is great stuff. This is great stuff. It allows the executive branch to pretty much take control of everything left because Congress is basically forfeiting their right to have any say in the government except for things that are already funded. Several things are already funded, and that's why Trump was so okay with this, because once one big beautiful bill passed, guess what? It means deportations get to keep going. The wall gets keep being built. Several things are already funded for the next few years, which is excellent. Okay. And did you guys know, and I thought this was actually fascinating, that just over 100 years ago, we didn't even have a yearly budget in the government? Oh, cue the Austrian economists and libertarians. Oh, what? No budget? Oh my God, it's the most important thing in the whole world. Listen, I'm no fan of running up massive deficits. I think it's stupid, and obviously it hurts our economy when we're completely crazy with this stuff. But it's true. We didn't used to have a budget in this country. It's wild how the American economy used to operate, but all through the 1800s, we didn't have a budget, and we thrived. In fact, over the course of the 100 some odd years from the Constitution getting put in 1789 through until 1913, when we get the income tax and the Federal Reserve, we had regular deflation. Things kept getting cheaper thanks to innovation technology. The American economy was the envy of the world, became so great that we're still thriving off what we built and continued to build on that, of course. But we didn't have a budget until we had an income tax. And you know why? Because year to year, we didn't know what we were going to bring in. We were living off of, or funding off of, sales tax, basically, and tariffs. And we were thriving as a country. Thriving. Had some of the best economies you ever known. And yes, we did go through cycles of recession and so on and so forth, but it was nothing like today. We kept growing. Okay. And things kept getting better. And then they introduced the income tax, the federal deficit, the budget, and all of a sudden Congress had all this extra power. Congress has always had the power of the purse, but they've had the power to hold things hostage as they're trying to do now. So I'm all for government shutdown because it actually takes it back to how things used to be, where Congress would allot funds and then the executive branch would just run things. And it opens up a lot of power for the Trump administration, which I'm okay with, because we need to clean up our government, and this will put him basically solely in charge of that. But so you know what's shut down. Well, during the shutdown, many federal functions are suspended. Services the government deems essential, such as those related to law enforcement, continue. If an agreement is not reached, which it wasn't, we enter the shutdown. And just so you guys know, here's what it looks like. This is what stays open. So the military and national security will stay open. Law enforcement and prison, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid payments continue. So you don't have to worry about that unless you're signing up for it. Postal Service, Congress and White House, air travel, national parks and museums shut down partially, at least, unless they're self-funding. Regulatory agencies, oh no, the regulations are going away. The IRS is going away. Boo-hoo. That hurts. Ouch. Doesn't mean the SEC will be closed, so it's not like they're helping us in the markets anyways. Research is shut down. Most of that we don't need right now. What halts almost entirely, and I'm not against government research. It can bring about good things when it's not pushing a woke agenda. Well, halts entirely. Federal workers deemed non-essential. Hundreds of thousands get furloughed, unpaid leave, until Congress funds the government again. New grants, loans, and benefits applications. Oh, no. Your food stamps aren't coming in. I know some people need them. I'm not trying to be too mean, but there's a ton of people abusing that system, and this is a good chance for that to get maybe a little cleaned up or reset a little bit. administrative offices, and the numbers are about 60 to 65% of federal civilian employees get furloughed. 30 to 35% keep working. So we get to see what is necessary during this time. It gives Russ Vought a chance to look over everything and make cuts. And now he gets to make those cuts without any interference. And guess what? He can fire during this time, and Congress can't do anything about it. When they come back, they can try to push for rehiring, but good luck with that. That's very, very difficult to pull off. So I love it. I'm excited about it, and President Trump seems excited about it. So here's let's see what Trump had to say about it right here.
What you're doing. Thank you very much, Linda. Okay, any questions, please?
Mr. President, as we inch closer to a government shutdown this morning, you said you might do a lot of layoffs. If DOGE is already reducing the federal workforce, why is it necessary to link more federal jobs cut to a shutdown?
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down, so when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats. As you know, no country can afford to pay for illegal immigration, health care for everybody that comes into the country, and that's what they're insisting. And obviously, I have an obligation to not accept that. That would affect everybody. You know, when I see what we're doing with AI and all the plants that are opening up in the country, $17 trillion is coming. And if you compare that to Biden had in 4 years less than $1 trillion. We have 17 trillion, more than that. I think it's going to be much more than that, David. By the end of this year, I think it's going to be far over that. It's a record. It's already a record in 8 months. It's a record by a lot. And so we're doing well as a country, so the last thing we want to do is shut it down. But a lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want. And they'd be Democrat things, but they want open borders. They want men playing in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. They never stop. They don't learn. We won an election in a landslide. They just don't learn. So we have no choice. I have to do that for the country. Yes.
I love that. A lot of good things can come from a shutdown. It's a great way to put it. And he said a lot of great things. They mentioned, get rid of stuff. We can get rid of Democrat things. I love it. It's so good. You know, he's like, sorry if the clip volume was low, guys. I can't control the volume off of X. I had it up full. But anyways, you know who used to be a fan of shutdowns, was totally fine with this? I remember it vividly, is Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh would always say, who cares? Shut it down. Like, let the shutdowns happen. And Republicans have always been so weak on this stuff. They didn't message it right. They didn't know how to play the politics of it. And yeah, he's right. I mean, other than Newt in the 90s, Republicans usually got reamed over shutdowns politically. They'd when they shut down the government against Obama, when they allowed the shutdown to happen in 2018, they paid political consequences for it. But this time they have their messaging, and that is that the Democrats are fighting for the health care of illegal immigrants. And let me break that down for you guys, because there's a lot of talk out there. Oh, that's a lie. That's not really what's happening. Well, here's how it works. The Democrats want to, they're holding the government hostage over $1.5 trillion to go back into Medicaid spending, which was cut in the One Big Beautiful Bill. Now, that money was cut because of work requirements and by cutting off illegals from the rolls. And that's why they're out there yelling, oh, they cut Medicare, like to scare everybody. But it's really just the deadbeats, the freeloaders, and the illegals who are getting cut off. And they want that restored. And they're trying, in their dastardly ways, they're lying to the media. What they're telling Trump and the Republicans is, we want this installed. And basically, they're trying to undo some of the bigger parts of the One Big Beautiful Bill, some of the cut parts, and they're trying to get that reinstalled. And Trump and the Republicans are putting their foot down. And that's why they keep saying, listen, this is the Democrats are fighting to get health care to illegals. And of all people, the very smart, wise Maxine Waters got busted basically admitting the truth. And they're out there saying Trump's lying. Well, Maxine couldn't help herself. She had to tell the truth.
Do Democrats want to prioritize the health care of illegal aliens over a government shutdown? Because if the government does shut down, Americans
Excuse
are going to
me,
be furloughed.
stop it right there. We're not prioritizing. What we're doing is saying simply we want to keep the government open, and we want to work with the Republicans and have a bipartisan agreement to keep this government open, and health care is at the top of our agenda.
But aren't Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody. We want to save lives.
There it is, right there.
We want to make sure that health care is available to those who would die, but having the help of their government.
So you're good with the government shutdown, even if it means giving health care to people who aren't American citizens?
Well, that's what you're pushing on. What you're trying to do is you're standing here and you're trying to make me say that somehow we're going to put non-citizens over Americans. Quit it. Stop it. This is the kind of journalism we don't need.
No, I'm just
you're
asking
divisive.
questions.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
you're being divisive. No, please. You don't need to ask
crazy.
that question. You're just trying to get
She said it. She said, we want health care for everyone so they don't die. And there it is. I mean, it's right there. That Maxine Waters can't help herself. And then she tries to spin it. Oh, you're trying to say we're putting them over American citizens. Well, in a way you are, because that's our tax dollars, ma'am. That's our tax dollars. And, listen, they can go home and they can do the right thing and come over here the right way and pay the right dues and wait the right amount of time. And then they can come over and become citizens, and they still can't get Medicare. Not until they've earned it. So anyways, it's the craziest thing, man. These people are so insane. They hate us so much, and they just want to line their own pockets and keep their voters. Literally everything they do positive for the American people is just to keep voters. That's it. That's the entire Democrat way. Everything they do is a bribe to vote for them, and everything else is just to keep power and keep enriching themselves off of us. And it just keeps getting exposed while they're trying to destroy our country in the meantime. Let me see real quick here, looking at the chat. Roger says, I heard there's a permanent CR bill proposed that will resolve this for the future if it's enacted. A permanent continuing resolution? I have not heard of that. That is actually very interesting. I'm going to have to look into that more. That's very interesting if there is one. Roger says, many federal workers part of a union, they get away with murder. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know how despicable? Listen, unions had their place once upon a time. And I'm not saying they'll never not have a place. They, in some instances I could see, the argument. But federal unions never have a place, because you should never be able to unionize against the people of the United States, which is what you do when you're a federal union. Federal union means you are holding the American people's tax dollars hostage for your benefits and your pay. That should not be allowed. A government job should just be, here you go. This is what it is. Take it or leave it. Because working in the government should never be a get out of jail free card. It should never be, I get to coast. I get the best benefits, a decent wage, all my holidays off, and a good retirement that's guaranteed by the federal government when nobody else gets a guaranteed retirement. And that's true. Even if your company said you have a guaranteed retirement, you don't, because a pension fund can run out. So it's just impossible. And then, yes, they're all political. It's insane. There should be no federal unions. It's it's revolting. It should be illegal. And, if Trump's able to break up the federal unions before he leaves, that would just be a miracle upon miracle. But yes, a lot of them do not do what they're allowed to do. That goes with unions everywhere. Man, I used to remember the Caltrans guys in California. We always laugh, take them forever to get anything fixed on the roads, and just sitting there in their orange vests, sitting around watching one guy work while the rest of them held signs. It was so stupid. And, all making this is in the late 90s, early 2000s, all making between like 25 and 40 an hour, full benefits, just lazy as hell. Caltrans, baby. That's unions. Those are state unions too. Allende Taylor, what's going on? She says, Democrats suck. They didn't force the shutdown. This was planned in advance. Central banks never waste a crisis. I totally disagree with you, but that's okay. I do. Your theory is noted. It's interesting, but Democrats did force the shutdown though, because they control the final votes. And in fact, we had 3 Democrats. Let's see if I have it here. I don't know if I have it ready to go. No, but 3 Democrats defected and actually voted with the Republicans to keep it open. It's Schumer and Jeffries and their base holding them hostage to not vote to keep the government open. So, and then of course Rand Paul voted against it, but Rand Paul always votes for it when it matters and votes against it when he knows it's not going to pass anyways. That's how he plays the game. Thomas Massey, same deal. Massey's out there being a fraud, just saying like, I voted against it when Biden wanted it, and I voted against it now. Listen, dude, you knew it wasn't going to pass. They didn't need your vote, so you get to play your game. And for Biden, you actually were one of the votes that passed one of the major budgets through that didn't have a cap on the debt ceiling for a year and a half. So Massey, you were one of the reasons Biden got to significantly increase our debt. So you're just a total fraud. And I get to say that almost every show. She's definitely on Tylenol, says Gomez. Tokram says, we haven't had healthcare for decades. Listen, I just got healthcare just like a year ago because of some cheap plan I was able to get a hold of, and I had to get it because I needed the surgery, but I hadn't had it forever. And you know what? Honestly, in America right now, you're almost better off paying cash in many instances, but that's a discussion for another day. Frank Anastasia, what's up, man? CA Human says unions are political now. They do nothing for the workers. It's all about the union machine. They do love that. Absolutely, they do. LMI, what's up? Government jobs should never be preferential to private sector jobs, 100%. And that's one of the things that, even when I was younger, my grandpa, who's a hardcore Republican conservative, but he was like, man, you should look at getting one of those government jobs. The government takes care of you. And blah, blah, blah. He was ex-military, and so I think he got that mindset from there. But I was like, Grandpa, I don't want that. I don't even believe in the principle of just working for the government. That's not what I believe the government should be for. But anyways, he always did that. All right, let's keep it moving. Here is Russ Vought. Let's listen to what Russ Vought's got to say about the shutdown. I think this man is chomping at the bit to get his hands on some of these firings. Here he is.
Estimate for us. Give us some ballpark numbers here. We've already had some sizable reductions in force. Actually, there's a number 300,000 floating around for this calendar year. That may or may not be the right number, but that number is floating around. Now, if there's a budget shutdown, as our own chat program suggested, almost ineluctably will be a budget shutdown, then you have the authority to reduce the federal employee count by roughly how much?
Well, I'm going to let those kinds of questions extend until tomorrow and the days after. Right now, where we are, we have hours to go before a government shutdown, and it can be avoided. and then we'll get in tomorrow. The preparation is all done. We have many options, but we're going to get in tomorrow and see where we are, and we're going to manage this shutdown and try to keep the American people from the havoc that the Democrats have caused on with their crazy demands. But let it be said, there are all manner of authorities to be able to keep this administration's policy agenda moving forward, and that includes reducing the size and scope of the federal government, and we will be looking for opportunities to do that.
Boom.
You've made that very clear to Mr. Schumer. It doesn't seem to move him, Russ Vought. That's what I don't understand. It will be worse. I mean, if I were he, and I'm most certainly not, but if I were he, I would want a continuing resolution and discuss all this stuff. I wouldn't want to hand the circular over to you, and he'll have to take some measures that he's not going to like one darn bit.
Well, I think he's got some time over the next several hours to come back from the brink, to work with his moderates to get a continuing resolution passed. We'll see how these votes come up, and then we'll see where we are in the morning.
All right. Well,
all right. Thank you,
Office
Russ.
of Management Budget Director, Russ Vought.
Russ Vought, what a nerd. And I say that with love. You want the nerds in charge of the books. You want the guys who get in there, look at the numbers, really go through stuff. But I love what he said. He said part of the agenda of this president, the agenda of this administration, is cutting the federal government, cutting the bloat, cutting it down. And he's like, and we're going to be looking at our opportunity to do this. This affords us opportunities. I love it. Just so good. Excellent stuff. So thank you, Russ Vought, for being a nerd, and I hope you follow through on your nerddom. Man, the nerds sometimes too, man, they can be just, I work with nerds, okay? I'm in marketing, but I work in a financial firm, and all the guys around me are the nerds. They're the eggheads. They're doing the books, and they get into the numbers, and that's all they see. And so, that's what you want. That's what you want when you're dealing with the people's money, with the tax dollars, with the government. You want the nerds. So, Russ Vought, you're the good nerd to have. But I can also see why you don't do a lot of media. Not with that voice. So, somebody said share some of the memes going around. Here's one. We demand free health care for all illegals, or we will shut down the government. Although Nancy Pelosi's not a part of it anymore. I love the Hakeem Jeffries stuff, man. He is getting so pissed about this. I gotta say that the White House is so funny. Today they put out a shutdown timer, a countdown to midnight. They're having so much fun with this, and you can tell. You can even see in Trump's eyes when he was speaking the glee about this. They know they're going to win this, and it's going to afford them a massive opportunity. Now the Senate is talking about possibly coming in tomorrow and trying to push it through. John Thune was saying that, and I was like, guys, stop. Don't do it. They lost. Let this go for a little bit. Don't try to force this. Don't try to get 5 more Democrats to vote for it. Come on. Let's have a little fun with this. But we're still dealing with some rhino Republicans that are trying to keep things open. They're scared of all these layoffs. So unfortunately the Senate is the worst for that. That's where the most rhinos still are, and the uniparty types. So we got work to do, but my hope is that they come in tomorrow. They still can't get it done, and then they don't meet for a while. I think after tomorrow they're not meeting again till Friday. And anyways, honestly, the Democrats are probably going to cave on this pretty quickly. I wouldn't be surprised, but I will say there is a wrench. And the fact is that there's a chance the Democratic base refuses and fights and is lighting up their phones saying, do not give in. Do not give in. We want that, you will give in. You will get that Medicare. Because the base, the Democratic base is stupid. All they know is to fight. They don't know how to fight. They have no idea how to accept small victories moving forward. It's all or nothing with the Democratic base. And that's okay. We want that. We want them to be a bunch of morons who think that they will punish their own side if they don't get everything they want. That's a beautiful thing for us. because smart people fighting a battle over time to win, you take ground. You take a little ground, you hold it. You take a little more ground, you hold it. That's how you win a war. And you don't win a war by saying, if we don't win it all right now, we don't do anything. But that's what the base wants right now, and I'm okay with that. That's beautiful. So base, I'm Democratic base, I'm pleading with you. Please don't let them make a deal. Force your side to put their foot on the ground so that we can have a nice, long, a big, beautiful shutdown. I want it to be huge. I want it to be a record shutdown. Give me a record shutdown. We'll just cut all the jobs. It'll be beautiful. And America, after that, will be budget friendly. Yeah, friendly. Yeah. We'll have a friendly budget. It'll be balanced. It'll be beautiful. That's what I'm talking about. Let me see what's going on in the chat. I just saw a comment I can't ignore. Government cheese is the shit. What? What are you guys talking about over there? That is an interesting conversation. Oh, man. Okay, well, I can see you guys have your own thing going on. Enjoy your guys' conversation. Good stuff. All right. So that happened. What are we at? We are at 27 minutes, T-minus 27 minutes till the shutdown. And, yep, nothing's going to stop it at this point. So the excitement's over for now. It starts again tomorrow. We'll see if we can hold it. I truly hope we can. All right. In case you missed it today, we had another pretty big thing happen. So this Pete Hegseth called in all the generals. By the way, before we go on to this next story, sorry. Guys, if you don't mind hitting that like, hitting that subscribe here on Rumble and YouTube, I appreciate it. If you're watching on X, hit the like and please repost it. I would greatly appreciate a repost, and go ahead and follow me. So thank you guys for that. Appreciate it. And all right, now we can keep moving on. I did my bit. All right. So today was the big military meeting where Hegseth called in all the generals and other military leadership from around the world, stationed all over the world, and brought them in to, I think it was Quantico, Virginia, which is also where the CIA headquarters is, interestingly enough. Brought them in and gave a nice big speech. Trump followed it up with a speech as well. There were several little nuggets here and there that were interesting, but, and I'm telling you, I have a feeling there was a lot of talking behind the scenes that wasn't filmed, because I don't think they brought him in just to do the speech and leave. That doesn't make sense to me. But we can also take a lot from what was spoken. So here's Hegseth. Just a quick little quote from him, but give you an idea of how the speech went.
To remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department. To rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit. I've made it my mission to uproot.
I love it. Inject that into my veins. We have a man who understands the military, back in charge, going to put it together. Alan says, you told me Pete was the man. Listen, I've always been on Pete's side. What are you talking about, Alan? Was there a time when I doubted Pete Hegseth? I don't think that was me. I think there are other people in the chat who would jump on. I'd have to debate with them. And Alan, I believe it. You were on there from the beginning as well. It's awesome. But I was always behind Hegseth. In fact, if you guys go back, I know for a fact, I told you guys that if Hegseth got when Trump was nominating all these people, and Gates got sacrificed early, within like a day. I told you guys that was it. He'd get everyone else confirmed, and Hegseth was the one to watch out for. And what happened? Hegseth got confirmed 50-50 tiebreaker to JD Vance, and then everyone else got confirmed with 51 or more votes. So I called it, but Hegseth was the one. But I was always behind Hegseth, man. And sure enough, Trump got his whole cabinet after that. So again, yeah, like I always say here, the facts are with politics. My predictions are 97.7% correct, which is ahead of Rush currently. Now I know I won't stay ahead of Rush forever. Rush was 96.3%, I believe. And so I know I'll fall behind the great Rush. I'm on a hot streak, but anyways, but yeah, I love Hegseth. And so he brought them in, he does this. The whole speech was like this, and he said they're going to get the what's it called, the standards back up. They're not going to change standards anymore for women or for anybody else. They're just going to keep the standards the same for everybody. And so if a woman can do it, she gets to be in, but there's not going to be any changes for that. He just said we're getting back to being war fighters. All wokeness is out. DEI crap is out. Politics is out. He told them they're all going to be held to fitness standards, including the generals, which I had to laugh at that one because there's some fat old generals in that audience. But he laid it out there and basically said, like, if you don't like it, you can go. And which is beautiful. And then Trump followed him up and basically said a lot of the same stuff. Now, Trump was Trump, and he also did kind of his campaign speech about all this great stuff he did. But the fact is, they basically laid it on the line, very interestingly, that the military is not the military of the last 20 years. We're getting back to what the military was in the 90s and before. Got rid of, like Hegseth said, dudes in dresses. They're calling trans like mental illness that cannot be in the military. I love it. It's awesome. It's going to he's going to fully bring the military back to the pride it used to be for America, which is wonderful. And then Trump came in, and one thing Trump said very, very interestingly is that he said that they are looking at training in blue cities. Now, there's a lot of people going to freak out about that. Trust me. Authoritarianism, dictatorship. This is, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of it off the top. Martial law. So there's all that going to be out there. People are already freaking about Trump saying this, but those of us who know, there's long been a belief for at least a decade now that the only way to finally finish the cleanup we need to do to get our nation back on track is put the military in certain places, not martial law, not attacking citizens, but having them there to basically keep down the riots, keep down everything, and then make some military arrests. I don't know if that's where we're headed, but I got to tell you, we've never heard a president talk like this before. We've never heard a president say that to all of the military leaders in one room before. Brought them all in from across the world. First time since World War II. And you're telling me they did it just for this speech? No, I think this was a landmark day for the military. I think they are cleaning house. I think that's one of the reasons they brought them in. I would not be surprised if several military people either resigned or got fired today. And I would not be surprised if there is an operation they were brought in to talk about as well. Again, this has not happened since World War II, when all the generals, all the leaders were called in from across the world to meet in one place. That's a big deal. It's expensive, It can cause some disruptions if not done right. I mean, it's kind of risky. You're bringing them all into one place. So there's a reason you do that, and it's not just to tell them we're done being woke. That's just a fact. So, I as always with Trump and this Trump administration, I think there are many, many things going on behind the scenes. That's the same as it was for Obama, same as it was for Biden and for Bush. All presidents, our government, there's always stuff going on behind the scenes. It's no different with the Trump administration. The difference, though, is that the Trump administration is doing stuff behind the scenes to defeat this blob, deep state, globalist cabal, whatever you want to call it. And that's why they hate him so much. But this was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. I loved it. I highly recommend going and watching the whole speech. Both of them are good, but Hexus especially is good. Let me catch up with the chat. Johnny Strayhorn says he agrees way more to this gathering. I completely agree with you there. Dry Tit is saying, says, I've been saying tribunals are coming. DI judges are going down. I believe you. D6 says, that 93.8% of people who quote percentages are full of crap. What are you trying to say, brother? Alan says, I was worried about him getting confirmed. I was. I thought he was, out of all of Trump's nominees, he was going to be the hardest to get through. And I was right. He was. But we did get him through. But I always said, Alan, that I still was leaning that he would get confirmed. Pat says they're scared of him. I agree. Yeah. CA Human says, as a female firefighter, I had no standards lowered for me. Years later, they had affirmative action of high minorities, and it was disastrous. Wow. Well, that's awesome that you made it without standards being lowered, CA Human. Good job. That's amazing. Alan says, no fat soldiers. Standards going back to 1990. Standards to everyone being the same. That's right. Roger says, already U.S. Navy recruitment has exploded once they return to blowing up pirate ships. Well, I'll tell you that the military recruitment has actually been up since Hegseth came in and Trump. We met our quota. I remember sharing this with you guys. I think it was either back in April or May that already just 3 or 4 months into the year, we'd already met our recruiting quota for the year, which was good because it had been down for so long. So now we're still bringing them in, and our military is growing and actually being fully staffed again, which is excellent. Let's see here. Toe cramp says military is the only way. No civil unrest, clean and swift. Absolutely. Dry says military tribunals are justified when civil courts are unavailable or deemed unsuitable to handle specific cases. Oh, I completely agree with you. Toe cramp says, well, we are at war, whether people realize it or not. We have been for sure. Absolutely. Sonora and Sky says female perspectives needed, but some females have shifted to 1850s American mindset. I don't know about, I guess, I think I know what you're saying. 100%. Listen, we are not complete without male and female. That's just a fact. I'm a Bible believing Christian. I believe in order to be one, you need both. But there's a difference in what, in physical stature, there's different in how we think. So the thinking part for sure, and there's definitely roles for women in the military. I 100% agree with that. I'm not sure combat's one of them. But if a woman can meet the standards of combat, same as a man, then, right now it's legal to allow it. So, hey, I guess try it. I haven't been in the military. I can't speak to how successful it's been or not. I know there's some great women firefighters and so on and so forth. So I think it's possible. I just don't think it's the norm. I think it takes an exceptionally strong, athletic woman to handle hanging with the guys, and that's just the way it is. But as far as women in the military in general, I'm very for it. I really am. I think they serve some roles that can be very, very helpful. You say your program. Let's see here. Tanks are rolling into Portland yesterday. Wow. Oh yeah. women did exactly. We have to have them. Absolutely. We can't, I am not, listen, I grew up in the church, and I when it comes to like the role of women, I'm very far along on that thinking. So I think they are extremely, extremely valuable in so many ways, but we also as long as we can recognize the differences, that's all I care about. I care about that men are better at some things, women are better at others. And instead of just saying we're not the same. Equal value does not mean equal function. Let me put it that way. That's the best way to say it. Anyways, I'm going to get out of this conversation before I get in trouble. Okay. One other, actually, there are a couple other big things that happened today, but I want to focus on this. So Trump made a deal today with Pfizer that's actually freaking a lot of people out. Now, he also did this executive order for pediatric cancer research, which is a really big deal, and we'll talk about that in a second. I'm not going to play any of the clips from the Pfizer stuff. I hate that CEO. We don't need to watch it. But I do want to speak to it for a second, and that is the fact that there's a lot of people freaking out over the Pfizer deal, and rightfully so. We hate Pfizer. I was actually very upset about it as first two. I want to see Pfizer go down. I do. I think they're an awful, evil company. I know that, you and I, we've all talked about this before. So I'm not changing my mind on that even a little bit. At first, I was very upset over it. And I was like, what is Trump doing? And I know sometimes Trump, when he feels he's already got somebody beat, he tends to be very nice to them if they play along. And that's had him do some things I didn't agree with, be too soft sometimes. And this was one of those times. Now, I will say this. I looked into the deal, and I wanted to make absolutely sure Pfizer wasn't getting anything from the government. And I was happy to find out that they're not. This deal Trump's saying he got with Pfizer, well, it's completely one-sided. How so? Well, Trump he's been promising favored nation status coming to pharmaceuticals. He's demanded it. This goes back several months. Couple days ago, last week, he implemented major tariffs on any pharmaceutical company that was not going to produce here. 100%, in fact. So you put all this pressure on Big Pharma, and then today he announces a deal with Pfizer. Well, here is the deal. The deal is Pfizer has come to the Trump administration, and I imagine freaking out about what's going on with their prices, with RFK breathing down their necks, and said, here's the deal. We will invest $70 billion here. We'll put all of our plants here, and we're going to start making everything here. And we'll also create We'll lower our drug prices. They're creating this online site where you're going to be able to go. It's called Trump RX, which is hilarious. But they're creating a online site where you can go and get their drugs between like 50 to 80% cheaper. So it's all on their site. That's a major win. The only thing the government did is that while they're building their facilities here, they get a 3-year window to build that and where they won't be tariffed. That's it. That's all they got. So I saw some stuff. In fact, even BAM Investor posted it, and I love BAM. Him and I are friends, and we see eye to eye on almost everything. He shared a post about this guy saying this gives them carte blanche to kind of expand their mRNA empire and get the mRNA vaccines out there more and push those more. When I looked into it, there's just nothing there that supports that at all. And so, as always, and this is what happens in the conspiracy world, which we've been proven right so many times on so many conspiracies, and we've found out so many things we didn't know were true in the past that are just crazy. I get it. I know why everybody's so skeptical and jumps to crazy conclusions. I get it. Unfortunately, if we're actually going to get change, we can't afford to live there. We have to find facts. We have to find what's actually going on. We have to do the work. Too many people don't want to do the work. They just want to spout the nonsense. Then they get views from it. They get shares from it. They freak people out, and it's all great. There's nothing in this that protects Pfizer from anything else. It doesn't protect them from RFK going after the vaccine stuff. It doesn't protect them from any of their pharmaceuticals being looked into. Trump and RFK are like this. They are like best buddies now. There's nothing Trump's going to do to hinder RFK. He's just not. And unless he goes cray-cray, which I just don't see happening. So this doesn't protect Pfizer. It's not a deal. They're not getting any investment from the U.S. government. So as far as I'm concerned, this is great because it's forcing that money to come here, which will also force them to be under more of our oversight, okay, because they won't be across the channel doing whatever they want to do. And it's forcing them to lower prices. So the way I came to look at it after actually doing the research, after freaking out at first, is this to me looked like Trump got their surrender and then he forced them to announce it as if it's a good thing. That's what I've come to the conclusion. Pfizer has been beaten and surrendered, and they're living for another day, but they're living now under the watchful eye of the Trump administration, with the Trump administration getting everything they wanted from them. So that's how I see it. If anything else comes out, I will be the first to admit I was wrong. If we find out they're getting investment from the government, and if they're getting a push to expand mRNA and any of this crazy stuff that's going around there, I will admit I'm wrong. I will gladly do that. Okay. So listen, I'm open to it, but again, Trump has always, as long as he's been around, in the 10 years he's been doing this, 2 terms, and even the 4 years he was gone, he has never let me down in a major way. There's some blips here and there, but they've always kind of been understandable once you like back up to the 30,000 foot view. So I always trust him first. I always do. That's just, and so whenever something crazy happens and I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't look good, I always research, and I'm always like, please tell me this isn't what it looks like. And so far, I've never once been let down. Not once. And I'm just telling you, like, I get a lot of crap for being like too loyal to Trump. You're nipping at his heels. You know, listen, there's a reason. I'm a loyal guy. Now you have to earn my loyalty, but once I'm in, I'm in. And as far as I know, Trump's the only leader in my lifetime I am all in on. And it's not because I just found a guy I liked. It's because he's earned it. And so I'm going to continue to give that to him. Now, after that happened, Trump did something very interesting. He then went on to sign and double the research. And this is one I'm really in favor for. Double the research into children's cancer from $50 to $100 million. Here's a quick clip from there.
With this order, I'm also directing the federal government to fully utilize artificial intelligence to supercharge pediatric cancer research. It's pretty amazing what's happening. For years, we've been amassing data about childhood cancer, but until now, we've been unable to fully exploit this trove of information and apply it to practical medicine. Using cutting-edge AI, we will empower scientists and researchers to discover new treatments, cures, and prevention strategies. AI can also make groundbreaking trials and therapies, and it's just going to be so accessible to everybody, families all across the country. So it's going to be amazing. What's happening is amazing. And we have more AI. We're leading in AI. We're leading China by a lot. With this order,
did you hear what he said? Research that had been put on the shelf and had been being used. Very interesting stuff. It's almost like, what do we know? Now, listen, I'm one of those people who believes, I actually believe we have several cures to diseases, ailments that are not allowed out there because they would take away money from all these pharmaceutical companies, health associations, you name it. Did you guys know, if you guys haven't read the book, The Real Anthony Fauci by RFK Jr., what are you doing? It's crazy. But listen, in 1978, I believe, the American Cancer Society almost folded. And you know why they almost went away? We're talking about the American Cancer, like they're everywhere, right? Big deal. They got all the posters up. They do Breast Cancer Awareness Month, all that stuff. They almost folded. And the reason why, there was so little cancer in America. Sit on that for a second. 50 years ago, there was so little cancer in America, we almost lost the American Cancer Society or Association. I can't remember. I think it's ACA, American Cancer Association. Anyways, almost gone. And now cancer's everywhere. There's a lot of things I think are going on that have caused that. Food, vaccines, living inside all the time, not playing outside anymore, not taking walks, not exercising, you name it. Living, under these lights all the time in our offices. It's a lot of environmental factors. I think they've all stacked upon each other. But I also think there might be possibly cures. And this is one of the things, like, I always share the Q stuff because it's interesting. But several years ago said, what if cures already exist? What about the billions provided to fund cure development? Sheep, these people are sick. How interesting is it that 7 years later, not to the date this time, this is not a delta, but 7 years later, Trump's talking about information that hasn't been used. Isn't that fascinating? I think that's fascinating. So we'll see where this goes, but that would be amazing if we start getting breakthroughs, especially in pediatric cancer. By the way, again, going back to that book, read that book. It's crazy good. It is. It kind of blows your mind. It really does. All right, let me, before I go to the next story, let me catch up in the chat. By the way, if you don't mind, please hit that subscribe if you're new. I really would appreciate it. Help me get out that channel. If you're on a mobile device and you have the option, hit the little hype button. Now, I don't know if it gives you the option for my channel for most people, but some people might have that option to hit the hype button. I'd really appreciate if you hit that button. My channel, YouTube doesn't like my channel. So whatever you guys can do to help me get out there, I'd appreciate it. Okay, let me catch up on some of this stuff since I switched to the Pfizer thing. Polyon says, it seems like Trump brought Pfizer in to make sure they couldn't go anywhere when he goes after them. That's kind of what I was saying. I love it. Thanks, Toe Cramp. I'm glad you like the breakdown. Let's see here. Oh, hold on, Alan. I got some for you in just a second. I think other companies will follow. I really do. Dry Tea says, when President Trump showed the receipts to Fed Chairman Powell, he looked like a poodle pooping to Peach Pit. Wait, what? Oh, I know what you're talking about. That was hilarious. That was a couple months ago, though. Sonoran Sky says, definitely blips with Trump, but most is okay. I voted for him and JD and tried persuading my wife until Michelle came out and said, your women will be collateral damage. I had to let it go after that. Michelle said your women would be collateral damage. Who? Michelle Obama said that? I don't remember that at all. I don't drink Diet Coke. No, Toe Cramp. I know that's Trump's drink, but Diet Coke's terrible for you. I just can't do it. CA Human, sorry about your neighbor. That's terrible. Dry says, homeopathic medicine does not make good money. That's right. It doesn't. And it's sad is that we've turned medicine into an industry. Toe Cramp says there's a post they said they know and Big Pharma knows and how to handle it. Wow. Crazy stuff. Roger says, stop spraying sunscreen on your skin. I haven't used sunscreen in years, and I feel great. Brett says, think it's funny how Fetterman has a stroke, and now he's a reasonable person. I know he's one of the guys who went through ivermectin. That's right. See, it's amazing stuff. Does a lot of crazy good things. Brett says, it retarded. Now you're speaking my language. Well, you know it. Peter Joy, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. Brett says, I just figured out today Jamie Pritzker is a retarded generic Fred Flintstone. Yeah, like it. Oh, what Obama said. So, Sonoran, by the way, are you new? It's great to have you. I don't recognize your name. I hope you subscribe. Were you saying that your wife was convinced by Michelle Obama not to vote for Trump? That's wild. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope she wakes up. Once she figures out that Michelle Obama actually has a penis, it usually wakes people up. And so we can show you all that if we need to. Just messing with you, but not really. Okay. All right. I got to share this, by the way. This is one of the funniest things you'll see all day. This was at the Pfizer press conference, and this is a little fun from Trump and RFK.
Insulin was, people weren't taking it, I would imagine. They couldn't take it. God bless you, Bobby. I hope I didn't catch COVID just there. Don't you have Paxlovid? What is it? He's got Paxlovid.
Paxlovid.
Give me a Paxlovid immediately.
Do you see what I mean? Oh, she doesn't fall apart. Okay, Sonoran. Anyways, you see what I mean, though? Him and RFK, how well they get along. I'm telling you guys, I don't see any way at all that Trump would betray RFK by bringing in Pfizer and like funding them or letting them off the hook. I just don't see that. Doesn't make any sense. This is a very loyal bunch. And that's even all the reporting says that. Okay. Even the people who don't like Trump, they all report that this is a very tight knit group. They all get along. They all like each other. And so, just crazy stuff. All right. And like stuff we've never seen before where they all get along and they're loyal to one another. And Trump just doesn't do that. He doesn't backstab people because he doesn't want to be backstabbed. He hates when people backstab him. So he would not do that to somebody else. And no, Trump doesn't like to backstab. He front stabs. He'll punch you right to your face. He'll stab you in your chest. So when you're his enemy, and RFK took a huge risk. He basically lost his family by switching over to Trump. He gave up his past. He gave up all of his credence in the left. He was a star over there. They loved him even when they weren't going to vote for him. And he's a Kennedy. Kennedys don't leave. They are like they're the royalty of the Democrats. He left. He's the son of Bobby. He's Democratic royalty, and he left. And so he gave up so much. There is just, and he probably brought over 4 to 6% of the popular vote to Trump, which, he could have. Trump probably could have squeaked out a win still, but Kennedy made it where it was easy, called that night. So Trump will not backstab him. So when you take all that into consideration, I don't worry anymore about the Pfizer deal. I just don't. And so again, if I'm proven wrong, I'll admit it, but I don't think I will be. Okay, let's finish with a few quick stories here. I got a couple interesting things that we'll just go through quick. As always, guys, your comments and questions are welcome. Please post them in the chat. Love to get to them. If you're on X, unfortunately, I can't see your comments until after the stream, so I do apologize for that. But I will try my best to answer them later. Otherwise, you could jump over onto YouTube or Rumble if you want to be more involved. All right, let's move on here. Real quick, sorry. I got to check something on my phone. My throat just got really dry for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. All right, here we go. So, already did that. All right. So, remember I showed you guys the other day when the ADL had listed Christianity as a terror group or a hate group. It basically was just evil stuff. I mean, Christianity, the foundation of our nation, the majority of our nation, and labeled it as terrorism, labeled it as hate. This is ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. Just evil, evil stuff. Well, Elon Musk called it out. Conservatives jumped on it after finding it. And now the ADL has it's changed it, and they are moving from their extremism glossary, Christianity and Turning Point USA. It's a big win. Okay, it just is. This means that this is one of the places, the ADL, where liberals go. They see it as gospel truth. They trust everything the ADL puts out almost. And so for that to be removed, big deal. That's a big win. And it just shows you that we are finally in the era where conservatives, Christians, the right, where we're finally learning how to fight back. And now we are winning. And on top of that, I wasn't going to talk about this today, but I might as well just throw it in there. Got exposed today that Netflix has some kids programming that's promoting trans stuff. So literally Elon posted that he's canceling Netflix today, and tens of thousands of other people did it. So Netflix is going to lose millions and millions of dollars because of their insanity. And this is how we win. We just fight back. Remember, no unity with these people. We cannot have unity with them. We won't violently fight them, but we will fight back in every legal, great way. 12 o'clock. All right. Thanks for shouting that out, Cass Inc. I just saw it. 12:08 is here. The government is shut down, folks. Cheers. 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 Anybody want to give a toast? We'll skip it for now. Let's see here. Trump does believe in loyalty. CA Human says Kennedy Democratic would be MAGA today. They'd never tolerate JFK. Oh, 100%. Yeah. You know, MAGA is actually very similar to 60s Democrats. Very, very similar. Dry T says after 3 terms of Obama, things went to heck. That's true, but we're getting it fixed. Forbidden Planet says Canada's forcing their people to turn their guns by next October. May speed up certain provinces to leave and join America. I've not seen that. That is wild. And he also, Peter Joyce says, Presidente Maduro declares a state of emergency, orders Venezuelan military forces prepare for massive U.S. strike. Wow. I didn't hear any of those things. Is that brand new news? I'll look for that in a minute, guys. That is wild news. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely have stuff to talk about on tomorrow's Members Live, if that's true. Pretty crazy. Paulion says, pray, donate, get involved, vote, and have tons of kids. That's how we win. Amen. Got to think generational. You know, that's how the left got as far as they did. There's nothing wrong with this. Conservatives, Christians want to be left alone. We just want to live our lives. We want to live quietly. We want to work our jobs, build our businesses, love our families, and be involved in our communities, our churches, whatever. And we want to be left alone. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem, though, is this. The problem is, even though there's nothing wrong with that, it's short-sighted. And the left thinks generationally. So even though we built the most incredible country in world history, the left, for the last 100+ years, has been plotting to take us over. And what did they do? They infiltrated our education system, our government, our media, our entertainment. And they just knew if they just kept going, little by little, we would fall. And you know what? This water, we're the frogs in boiling water. It got really, really hot before we woke up. Thank God we didn't die. We caught it. Trump helped us. We're going to get it all back, but we have to think generationally. We have to. And tell your kids that, tell your grandkids that. Do not allow another generation to rise up that thinks everything's fine and they won't have to fight for anything. No, the fight can be easy. If we win this war, then, and we're in charge and we raise them right, we train them right, then their fights can be much easier and much smaller. But they still have to fight because you always got to fight evil. You just always will. And that's where we, or our parents, our grandparents go back. I'm not saying all of them on an individual basis, but I'm saying their generations really dropped the ball. And we're left with what was left to us, all of us here, and we're all fighting, and we're going to see it through. But we're also going to raise our kids better. Yancey Quezada says, White House website says Democrats have shut down the government. Love it. That is beautiful. So good. All right, let's keep moving here. All right, Republicans have found a way to maybe get rid of funding taxpayer subsidization of transgender procedures and surgeries without a law. Secretary Bessent has written that he can unilaterally remove qualifying medical expenses designation from gender procedures at the IRS, meaning those with Obamacare plans no longer qualify. So there you go. Let's get this done. Here's the official letter with Bessent. Let's get it taken away so that no taxpayer dollar. Now, I want and I hope Trump and the administration and Congress, because it will take an act of Congress to really keep it, make it last. But my prayer is that we actually get these fully banned once and for all. That's the prayer. That's the hope in all of America, that no transgender surgery can happen to anybody under 18. I actually think it should be 21 or 22. That's when your brains are fully developed, is 22. So I think it should be that old, like alcohol. But alcohol, is not a federal law to drink at 21. It's state law everywhere. And the feds did it. They said, change your law or we don't fund your highways. And Louisiana held out the longest, and they had really crappy highways for a while. So, but anyways, that's how they did it. And I'm fine with something like that, but I'd rather just federal law say 18, you have to be 18 or older to have your surgery. We should not be allowed to mutilate kids, but we definitely should not have the government funding it. That's disgusting. Okay, keep moving. In Houston, Texas today, the largest Planned Parenthood in America, all of North America, that includes Mexico and Canada, was shut down. Abortion is almost completely illegal in Texas. Trump pulled the government funds from it in the big, beautiful bill, and now it's going out of business. That's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So goodbye, biggest Planned Parenthood in North America. Just a massive, massive win. Democrats are doing so well that their approval, according to the NPR Marist poll, which is out of 1,300 registered voters, pretty big sample, 26%. They can't win. So even when Trump is having a bad week, the Democrats aren't capitalizing it at all. And you know what? In the Bible, it talks about how when God is really doing something and people have rejected him, he blinds them. And also with Pharaoh, it says he hardened his heart. So there are times when God gives somebody a chance, especially an enemy, somebody who's already been awful to his people. He gives them a chance, and then they don't take the chance to wake up. Well, November last year was their awakening moment. They got their butts handed to them, and they had a chance to wake up, say, what have we done? How far have we fallen? It's time to moderate again. It's time to get back to actually being a party that can serve the American people again. They didn't do that. Instead, they listened to their crazies, and they're doubling down on all the insanity. Men and women's locker rooms, men and women's sports, abortion up till 9 months, crazy socialist economic policies. I mean, they doubled down on it all. And this is what's happening to them as a result. They are heading towards total destruction. Now, we got to pray that something disastrous doesn't happen between here and now to get to the point where we lose the midterms by somehow. But if we hold the midterms next year, I'm telling you, it's going to be utter destruction for the Democratic Party over the next few years, because I don't see any way that if Trump gets his full agenda done in the next 3.5 years, I don't see any way J.D. Vance loses in 2028. They don't have anybody. Forbidden Plan says the left are willing pawns of Satan in what they do. The far left for sure. Not all moderate Democrats, but they enable it by voting for him. So, yes, in many ways, I agree with you. Daily vigilance wins. Absolutely, Strayhorn. Let's get it figured out quick. We're working on it. D6 says LA still has crappy highways. When the feds finally funded the highways, I'm sure they found a way to skim a lot of that money. In Louisiana, that's terrible. That's terrible. It's funny. Enemy cometh in like a flood. The Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against it. Well, that's true. When, and we don't fight against flesh and blood. So I just always want to make that clear. We fight against principalities, spirit of the air, which means we fight against ideas and terrible policies and whatever promotes, like, we're not violent. We're not going after the flesh and blood, but we have every right to call out stupid ideas every time they speak them. We have every right to tell them they're wrong to their faces. We have every right to call them fools and idiots if they persist in insanity. We have every right. Jesus did all those things. And what would Jesus do? Sometimes he called him an idiot. And it's okay. We have every right to do all that. And in a way that actually is loving, because you know what the most unloving thing you can do is let somebody rot in their filth without telling them you can do better. That's, if you tell a drug addict, oh, you're good. Keep doing that meth. Don't let me bother you. As long as you're happy, you're not loving them. You're enabling their destruction. And so that's why we cannot unify with these people. And that's why, again, every pastor calling for unity, every pastor calling for us to reach across the aisle, every pastor for calling us to tone it down is wrong. And I say that as a Christian, somebody who was a pastor for 10 years, somebody who has studied this stuff for 25 years, and I'm done playing the games. I'm done playing the games that they taught us, that they championed us to do. Who's calling for all that? It's the nice Christians. Oh, we got to be nice. And it's the Democrats. That's who's calling for it. But the leaders, the real men, the people actually winning back our nation, fighting for our nation, Trump, J.D. Vance, who I don't count as spiritual leaders, but I do count them as my leader in this moment. They are saying we are going to destroy them. And they don't mean physically. They mean policy-wise for going forward. And that's where we need to be, folks. That's where we need to be. Policy-wise and idea-wise, we have to destroy them. Okay, this was just amazing. I wanted to share this real quick. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's getting late. But, Trump and RFK Jr. came out the other day, told us that Tylenol could be linked to autism, especially in pregnancy, especially when taken with vaccines. They told us all that. And then they said about this drug that they found that might have some positive effects. And a woman listened to them whose son was highly autistic, nonverbal, and after he took the medication they talked about for 48 hours, he spoke for the first time. That, my friend, is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Should be talking about leucovorin. My son is 5 years old and he's not
5 years old, wasn't speaking. Anyways, I recommend you watch the video if you get a chance, but it just shows you that what Trump and them are doing is working. It is, it's the truth. RFK Jr. is not crazy. They are opening up cures to us. They are protecting us from poisons that we've been all living with for decades and decades, and we're going to be a much healthier society thanks to them. But this just shows you guys that the MAHA movement, the RFK movement, what Trump's allowing them to do in our health services is legit. It's amazing. You could call it a miracle, and it shouldn't be a miracle because this treatment's been available for a long time, and I believe the research just been hidden from us. But it is a miracle now because it's finally coming to light. So incredible stuff. So thank God for that. Thank God for Trump. Thank God for RFK Jr. And hopefully we just defeat this autism epidemic once and for all. Again, I say this as somebody whose oldest son is autistic. I'm very fortunate he's high functioning, but he is autistic. So this is a very close thing to me. And finally, in the UK government, they're pushing digital ID, and it is it's very scary. Not for us, but for the world, and because this will go to other countries. I mean, UK is one of the big ones. But I wanted to share this because the other day this started going around, and some other stories as well. But there's a petition in the UK now going around to do not introduce digital ID, signed by 2.4 million people so far. And this was a couple days ago. This is growing. The people are fighting back. My hope and prayer is that this is the thing that finally wakes up the people of the UK so they fight back and take back their government. If they can defeat digital ID, there will be hope for the UK. And it means that this movement that's happening here in America is spreading. It's beautiful, and this will be one of the biggest defeats to the globalists yet, and just a massive, massive proof that we're not just winning here, we're starting to win across the world. So pray for our brothers and sisters in the UK who are starting to wake up. Pray for them that they wake up and they save themselves, they save their children, save their grandchildren, because it's getting bleak over there. Because things are going so well here, because Trump's pushing back, the globalists, the far leftists, those partnering basically with evil and tyranny, they are ramping it up everywhere else because they're so scared they're losing our country. They want to make sure they don't lose theirs and the other ones. So pray for them. And we'll make sure to do that tonight. So on that note, guys, we're going to call it a night. It is late. I went long tonight. I hope that's okay with you guys. Please like, share, subscribe if you're new. I'd love to have you be a part of this channel. The likes help. Hype it if you can on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that hype button. I would really appreciate that as well. And listen, if you really love this and you want it more, tomorrow night's a members live, members only. You can join by joining the Patreon or join the membership here on YouTube. But if you join on Patreon, you also get access to Discord, and it's free for your first month on Patreon. So that's a great deal. I'm very generous of myself, if I do say so myself. But no, it's because I want you guys to get a chance to enjoy the actual value. So in that Discord, you'll find about 200 people just talking about stocks, politics, having fun, becoming friends. It's great. The Discord is great. And Discord itself is worth the money alone. But you also get the members lives. Tomorrow night will be a members only live stream. So everybody who's joined will get access to that. I look forward to seeing my members who support this channel. Thank you guys for that. And then I'll be back with a regular show Thursday. So listen, love you guys. Appreciate you. We are winning. Things are good. And as always, we need to end with a prayer because we need it. The world needs it. And most importantly, prayer works because what we're doing is working. What Trump's doing is working. We are defeating this globalist attack on our lives, this socialist communist attack, this demonic attack on our culture that has been happening for decades and almost overtook us. We're now taking it back, and it is happening rapidly. We're getting our country back. So prayer works, and that's how it started, was prayer. So we're going to keep going. So Heavenly Father, thank you so much for today. Thank you for these amazing people, Lord. Bless this chat. Bless everybody watching me tonight. Everybody watching this stream. Bless them, Lord. But also, Lord, we just pray a blessing over President Trump and the administration, everybody fighting for us, God. We pray protection over them, wisdom for them, and boldness to keep going and keep pushing back faster, harder, and stronger than ever. And Lord, we just pray for revival to keep spreading through this land, as and that Charlie Kirk's death would just get everything, Lord, his blood paid for and more. In Jesus' name, we pray for our neighbors across the pond in the UK, that they would wake up and Europe would wake up, and that would spread to Australia and the Middle East and everywhere else as well, God, that the awakening would happen worldwide. And the people could get back their countries as well. And Father, just finally, bless everybody here. Bless their needs, their wants, God, that they need for their families. Bless them with health if that's what they need. Bless them with finances if that's what they need. Bless their relationships if that's what they need. And just thank you, God, for their support, for watching us. And God, help us just get justice and prosperity back to America. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. Love you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching, and I will see you members tomorrow and everybody else on Thursday.